publicity. Although now people are starting, because I'm putting out the COVID numbers. He didn't do well on COVID.
Hey, what's up, folks? We have a great show for you today. Donald Trump went on conservative-leaning culture podcast Nelk Boys to hit DeSantis from the left and parrot CNN and MSNBC talking points about COVID deaths in Florida.
He had more deaths than almost every country in Florida. I hate to say it because Florida's my state. But he did not do well.
I understand that he wants to beat DeSantis in the election, but I guess his strategy is to lie, and turn into CNN and MSNBC lying about the actual data. Bold move.
That means that if you were in hospice and had already been given, a few weeks to live, and then you also were found to have COVID, that would be counted as a COVID death. It means that technically, even if you died of a clear alternate cause, but you had COVID at the same time, it's still listed as a COVID death. So everyone who's listed as a COVID death doesn't mean that that was the cause of the death, but they had COVID at the time of death.
I think he knows that his support base would probably let him crap in their face and claim it's chocolate pie. So he's not wrong to do this. If nobody calls him out and nobody cares, why should he stop? Keep pooping in the face of your supporters, Trump. They'll think it's a secret code. We're gonna go over the actual numbers per capita. It's like saying New York City has more deaths than a rural town. Well, that's why you have to go by deaths per capita, which CNN, MSNBC, left-wing media, and now Donald Trump refuse to do. We're also gonna talk about Mike Lindell going to court over $5 million that he promised to someone if they could prove him wrong. Apparently a Trump supporter did prove him wrong, and now there's a dispute over the money. It's an interesting story. I'm gonna read the whole thing. And lastly, Larry Elder decided to run for president. Very interesting stuff. Is that good? Who does that help? We'll talk about it. Let me know your opinion. God bless you guys. The Dream Rare podcast starts now. It's the Dream Rare podcast. Welcome to the show. The way to get the news at the desk or on the road. Let's go. God is great and success in our control. The world is crazy, but we get better from obstacles. What's going on, everybody? Welcome to today's episode of the Dream Rare podcast. We're going to go over a few things. Larry Elder's running for president. I want to talk about this really interesting story about Mike Lindell owing a Trump supporter $5 million because he said, if anyone can prove me wrong, I'll give you $5 million, and someone allegedly did, and now there's a whole dispute over it. Really interesting story. I want to cover it. But first, I want to talk about Trump went on the Nelk Boys podcast, which is one of the biggest podcasts in the world. They asked him about DeSantis, and Trump really just sounded like CNN and MSNBC and said that, Florida, their numbers are not that good with COVID. People are dying. I mean, I think he meant states, but he said country. We're going to watch the 3 clips first, and then I just want to show that Trump is lying and just pretty much sounding like MSNBC now on COVID because he just wants to make DeSantis look bad. So all I ask for is tell the truth. But if he's going to turn into, CNN, I don't understand where this is going. Let's watch.
Why do you think he's besides that, because he's done a pretty good job with Florida, you agree? Why do you think you're a better choice than DeSantis?
Well, actually, if you look at the numbers, he didn't do a great job. If you take a look at the numbers, he's very high on crime, very high, right at the top, almost at the top. I think he gets good publicity, although now people are starting, because I'm putting out the COVID numbers. He didn't do well on COVID.
So Trump's putting out the COVID numbers and DeSantis didn't do well on COVID. Right. What are those numbers? Let's listen.
He had more deaths than almost every country in Florida. I hate to say it because Florida's my state, but he did not do well. It's very interesting. I don't want to knock anybody, but the thing he did well on is public relations, because the numbers weren't what they pretended to be.
So Trump is saying that DeSantis did worse than almost every country. Obviously not true, but I think what he meant was worse than every state, which is also not true. So I don't know why he's so dead set on lying about COVID, but it's nothing new. Let's listen to the end, and then we're going to show the actual proof that, of course, he's not telling the truth. Let's watch. Hold on.
With all of that being said, when you help somebody, I believe in loyalty. You just don't do what he did. Now, he's out campaigning. I assume he's going to run, but I think the numbers are so bad now that a lot of people are assuming that he won't run. And
would you consider him to be your running mate?
I don't see it. I mean,
So when Florida was open, because everybody knows, I'm not saying they never shut down, but obviously from halfway through 2020 until 2022, Florida and DeSantis were basically like, our state is as open as we can make it, and California was way more shut down and lockdown. And there was this major debate between left-wingers and DeSantis in Florida, like, you know, DeSantis needs to close the state because everybody's dying in Florida. They tried to paint this picture like Trump's doing. He basically just takes MSNBC fake talking points and regurgitates them and expects people to believe it. But that was their whole strategy, to try to get Florida to be more like California. Everyone's dying there. You're leading in deaths. They called him Death Santis. They just kept saying everybody's dying of COVID. Before we even get to why that's not true, because you have to go by deaths per capita, it's like saying, you know, Washington, D.C. has less deaths than a certain city. It's like, well, how many people are there? Because it doesn't make it safe if there's a smaller amount of people but a higher amount. You go by per capita. Every crime rate, every statistic with COVID, you got to do per capita or else it's misleading, which the media has no problem doing because they wanted to get it shut down more. But before we even get into that, let's watch this clip of, I think her name was Ngozi Ngozi. She was a health director in Illinois of some sort, and she spilled the beans during COVID of how they were really counting cases. And if you're not talking about this, then nothing you're talking about matters, because how they're counting cases and deaths is everything. And this was almost, nobody wanted to talk about this for some reason. Let's watch.
I just want to be clear in terms of the definition of people dying of COVID. So the case definition is very simplistic. It means at the time of death, it was a COVID positive diagnosis. So that means that if you were in hospice and had already been given, you know, a few weeks to live, and then you also were found to have COVID, that would be counted as a COVID death. It means that if technically, even if you died of a clear alternate cause, but you had COVID at the same time, it's still listed as a COVID death. So everyone who's listed as a COVID death doesn't mean that that was the cause of the death, but they had COVID at the time of death. I hope that's helpful.
So I have the receipts that I was sharing this video in April of 2020. This was one of the most important videos out there. And actually, believe it or not, Elon Musk responded and said it would be helpful to know who's dying with COVID and who's dying from COVID. So when April was going on, when most even Republican states were locked down, this is why Republicans lose. When Democrats go communist, Republicans go communist light, and they start playing their game, selling their products. But the truth is, if you really want to cut through the COVID narrative, we could talk about who's dying more here. But what are the numbers? If they're counting cases recklessly, which they were, everybody knows that's followed me for years. I've done dozens of videos on this. How are they even counting cases? What is a PCR test? Do you even need a PCR test to get a positive test? In a lot of states, you didn't even need a PCR test. You just needed to have a cough and a sore throat, and you said you're around someone with COVID, and they had a three-pronged system where they said, if you have this and you have this, you have COVID, and you didn't even need a COVID test. So the Republicans, the reason that they lose, I know they like to play the victim and point to the other side and run you in circles around narratives that never get there. But the truth is, we bear a little bit of responsibility for the lockdown, because not only were Republicans in on it for months and they printed all the money to give to Democrats to lock down their state till November with the mass mail-in ballot scheme, but also nobody was cutting through the narrative. This is why, even though I don't fully trust Elon Musk, because he's a billionaire elite, but he was telling the truth about COVID, and he was one of the only ones. He was earlier than the DeSantis. He was earlier than Trump. He was earlier than every Republican. Most Republican influencers still don't get it, and he was pushing that thing. So before we even talk about whether Florida has more deaths than other states, what is a COVID death? If they're counting somebody that has COVID and died in a motorcycle accident, then the numbers don't really matter that much. And that's how the media was able to keep us locked down, right? So now let's get to Florida. Once DeSantis decided to open his state up more than California, it's undeniable that he did that. We understand that he made a mistake. I'm not justifying it. I'm not saying DeSantis never locked down and played into it. That would be a lie. I'm just saying everybody knows at a certain point, whether it was May, June, July, DeSantis flipped the corner and started pushing in the other direction, and California stayed in the lockdown. So the media was trying to make Florida look bad. Everybody's dying in Florida. They're trying to push this narrative. Freedom is bad. Freedom will kill you. You need to lock down beaches. You need to lock down stores. So in order to do that, they tried to say that everybody was dying in Florida. Here's the truth. I'm going to go with the stats right now, and then we'll talk about 2020 and 2021. Right now, when Trump says that Florida has some of the most deaths, he's not talking per capita, because I'm going to read the top 10 states in deaths, COVID deaths. Not that anybody cares anymore, but COVID deaths per capita right now. Number 1 is Arizona, according to the official data. Number 2 is Mississippi. Number 3 is West Virginia. Number 4 is New Mexico. Number 5 is Arkansas. Number 6 is Alabama. Number 7 is Tennessee. Number 8 is Michigan. Number 9 is Kentucky. Number 10 is New Jersey. Do you notice something about that list? Florida's not on it. You know why? Because right now, Florida's number 12 in deaths per capita. That's not even top 10. At the time, I'm going to just show you proof real quick, and then I'm going to read it. I don't know if you could really see. I apologize. Maybe I'll just, you could look on my Twitter. It's from, I guess 7. So August 26. At August 26, 2020, I tweeted, and this was official data at the time. I said, despite all the fake negative media hype, as of posting this, the COVID death per million population count is New Jersey, 1,787, New York, 1,680, Florida, 273. Florida was doing over 5 times better in deaths per capita, yet the media is telling the opposite story to protect Democrats. I tweeted that. They did a whole fact checker article about it. And even in the fact checker, they had to admit, they were like, well, Florida people are dying and the numbers aren't in yet. But technically, yeah, it's like it was literally doing at the time. I don't care that they fact check me. They even admitted in their fact checker article, Florida had 5 times better the numbers than New York and New Jersey in 2020 at that time in deaths per capita. Here's one I did. I did a whole video last year, and I said, reminder, Florida isn't even top, or 2 years ago, I'm losing track of time, Florida's not even top 25 currently in deaths per capita, and the top 2 worst states are New York and New Jersey. So it all changes, but in general, when the media was trying to call DeSantis DeSantis and say everybody was dying in Florida, it was never true. Florida, like California, has a lot of people. So if you compare the deaths in Florida to the deaths in Maine, it's not accurate. Yeah, wow, Florida has more deaths than Maine. Yeah, because how many people are in Florida? California has more deaths than, I don't know, like New Jersey. Well, how many people are in California? So you have to go by deaths per capita, which the media never did. So Trump is now regurgitating media talking points to make it seem like DeSantis was killing so many people. And the whole reason the media said that, which was never really true, was because they wanted him to shut down. This is not the first time that Trump has repeated left-wing communist talking points. In April, when I was trying to tweet the videos, trying to say they're not even counting properly, Trump was telling Sweden that they're paying heavily for not locking down their country. I have his exact tweet, and then I'm going to read my response in April of 2020. Trump said, despite reports to the contrary, Sweden is paying heavily for its decision to not lock down. As of today, 2,464 people have died there, a much higher number than neighboring countries Norway, Finland, and Denmark. The United States made the correct decision. I had all the data. I responded to him. This is still on Twitter. You could check it for yourself. I said at the time in April, I'm not playing Monday morning quarterback. I knew then because I was following it. I said he's defending communism and medical tyranny, making false comparisons to his neighbors. He's a salesman for communism now. I was like, dude, how are you saying lockdowns are good? They're not. I knew that in April. But the whole year from April until really like a year ago, I'm trying to show people the real data. Because even the data that they had, it was never what they said it was. They were just pointing out things out of context to be like, well, Sweden should have locked down because everybody's dying there. No, they're not, and they never were. Florida should have locked down because everyone's dying there. No, they're not. It never was. Someone said region matters. Of course, vitamin D matters, sunshine matters, exercise matters. Also, how they're counting cases, who's in charge. You know, in certain states, you didn't even need a PCR test to test positive for COVID. The entire scheme was a joke the entire time, but nobody even covers the part of it. You get what I'm saying? People are getting upset at me, but it's like, here's the interesting part. To Janet, who's having like a conniption over there. Regardless if Trump or DeSantis or Hillary Clinton or whoever's in, my stance on what I've said about COVID hasn't changed from 2020 till now. I've told the truth about it. Everything I said in 2020 is still accurate. You can't point to something I said that's so different than now because I was telling the truth about it once I figured out what was going on. Here's the part about Trump and people like Alex Bruesewitz, etc., and they have the right to go with the Trump campaign. I don't care. I'm just being honest. you could find tweets of them saying that DeSantis was doing such a great job. He's the best governor against COVID. So a year ago, 2 years ago, he's the best governor against COVID. I'm so glad to live in Florida. And then 2 years later, now they're repeating CNN talking points saying he's killing everybody. So my stance on what I think about the numbers hasn't changed. I'm real. I'm not fake. You're fake if a year ago you said DeSantis did such a great job on COVID, he's number one, and now you're like, he's killing everybody because I want Trump to win. You're not a real person. You're not honest. It's not about what the truth is. It's about winning an election by any dirty politics means necessary. I'm just telling you the truth. I mean, now on True Social, I'm just going to show you this. Trump is retweeting CNN stuff, and he's bragging that CNN, look at staggering political malpractice. CNN eviscerates DeSantis for Disney's spat flubbing endorsements as Trump trolls him. Trump's like, haha, CNN agrees with me. Haha, the CNN paddle's making fun of DeSantis. That's MAGA being like, haha, CNN loves me now. Ha ha ha. CNN agrees with me on Disney. Yeah, MAGA. That's the movement. It's insane. I have another story I want to talk about, so I'm going to move on. This is the point that I'm trying to make, and then we'll keep it moving. When the media said everyone in Florida is dying because they wanted to lock down Florida, it wasn't true. They weren't counting the real numbers per capita because they were trying to paint a false perception that it was so bad there to stay open. Now Trump is doing the same thing, not because it's true, not because it's accurate, not because he believes it, not because any of his political operatives believe it. He's saying it because he wants to win the election, so now he's just attacking DeSantis from the left. He's not attacking him from the right and being like, no, you should have opened up earlier. It's like, no, everyone's dying there. Your numbers really weren't good. Okay. I mean, I guess it might work. I don't think his base at this point cares. Like, if you haven't figured it out by now, I guess why would he stop? It's like he could say whatever he wants. No one cares. No one cares that he's just moving left on these issues. I mean, it's not working with me, but I just thought it was pretty embarrassing that he went on the Nelk Boys to basically try to use old lies about PCR test numbers and COVID cases and deaths to paint this huge picture that it was so bad in Florida because they opened up earlier. It's ridiculous. I'll talk about it more later, but I want to cover this other story. So I'll just show you the headline. I'm going to read the full article because it's really interesting. MyPillow founder Mike Lindell ordered to pay $5 million to the winner of the Prove Mike Wrong election interference challenge. So this is about to get really interesting, guys. I usually don't read full stories. This is from Law and Crime. It's just a Law and Crime website. It's being covered by mainstream media too. I just wanted to read it from here. Mike Lindell, during his cyber symposium, he did some sort of thing like, if you can prove me wrong about this data being from China or something like that, I'm going to read the article in a second. I'll pay you $5 million. And a Trump supporter did it. This was not a Democrat. Apparently, it's a Trump supporter who's like, oh, I do want to look into it. And they were a software engineer and some sort of digital analyst of some sorts. I guess electric engineer. I don't know the exact. I'll figure it out. And he proved that Mike Lindell was wrong according to this lawsuit. And Mike wouldn't pay him the money. So let me read the story and then we'll react to it because I want to be as accurate as possible with what the story is. So it says, Mike Lindell, the outspoken Donald Trump supporter, has been ordered to pay $5 million to an electrical engineer and software developer who accepted his challenge to disprove the validity of his evidence supporting those claims. A 3-arbiter panel ruled Wednesday that Lindell, the MyPillow founder and stalwart Trump acolyte, must pay engineer Robert Zeidman, a Trump supporter himself, $5 million for proving that the evidence Lindell claimed to have was not actually related to the 2020 election. Lindell issued his Prove Me Wrong challenge at the 2021 Cyber Symposium he hosted in South Dakota with the purpose of showing data that he said proved that China had interfered with the election. According to the arbiter's ruling, Lindell promised that at the symposium he would reveal cyber data and packet captures from the 2020 November election. The purpose of the challenge, Lindell said at the time, was to find proof that this cyber data is not valid data from the November election. In other words, Contestants were asked to prove that the data Lindell presented were not from the 2020 presidential election. The prize, a not inconsiderable sum of money. For the people who find the evidence, $5 million is their reward, the challenge announcement said. Zeidman entered the contest, the ruling says, because he was interested in the claims that there had been interference in the 2020 election, and he wanted access to the data, as promised, to see if it was history in the making, perhaps to see if the election was overturned. Mr. Zeidman told his friend that he was unlikely to win Mr. Lindell's prize because he probably wouldn't pay him the $5 million. I don't know, if Mr. Lindell had not had his own experts vet all the data. Zeidman was wrong. He did prove Lindell wrong, and he did so by reaching the conclusion that the data Lindell provides reflects information from the data Lindell provides and reflects information from the 2020 election, unequivocally does not contain packet data of any kind and do not contain any information related to the 2020 election. His report also includes printouts from the data in support of his conclusions, the ruling notes. The panel's ruling involves a painstaking analysis of each file provided to Zeidman by Lindell and the contest organizers, none of which the arbiters concluded related to the 2020 election. What the arbiters were not asked to do, the ruling specifically notes, is decide whether China interfered with the 2020 election and whether Lindell actually had data proving that much. I'm almost done. The ruling also noted that even members of Lindell's own team and software experts had complained that they hadn't even received the data that Lindell promised. The panel ordered Lindell to pay Zeidman $5 million within 30 days. In a text to the Washington Post in his typical exuberant style, Lindell said he disagreed with the panel's ruling and indicated that he intends to escalate the matter. They made a terribly wrong decision, Lindell reportedly texted the newspaper. This will be going to court. A somewhat more subdued Zeidman said in a statement that he was really happy with the decision and the truth is finally out there. So we'll see what the courts decide if Lindell takes him to court. But according to that story, Mike Lindell said, I'll give $5 million to anybody that could prove that this stuff is not related to the 2020 election. And a Trump-supporting electrical engineer and software developer took him up on it and claimed proof that it wasn't. And according to whatever court ruled on it, they don't have proof. I'm going to say this. I don't trust Mike Lindell. I don't hate the guy. I'm not like, I thought of this example today because in politics, it's like Coke versus Pepsi or left versus right. And people get so mad when you're just skeptical of either side. Like say this person's an orange and this person's an apple. And then someone comes to me and says, how'd you like your steak? And I'm like, I didn't get a steak. And they're like, well, one of those is a steak. And I'm like, no, they're both fruit. And it's like, no, one of them has to be a steak because if one's a fruit, the other one has to be a steak. And I'm like, listen, I like the orange more than the apple, but neither one of them are steaks. And people are like, oh yeah, who paid you to say that? Like, this is how political people are wired. It's like a duality, like a false paradigm. Like it's got to be this or this. So the point that I'm making is, I think both sides of politics are getting brainwashed because it's like, if you think Trump's the villain, then you'll think Chuck Schumer's the hero. If you think Hillary Clinton's the villain, then Donald Trump must be the hero. Everyone's got to pick like a savior or a villain. And, it's like when it comes to people like Mike Lindell, I don't hate the guy, but I don't trust him at all. I mean, why would I? He said he was 100% sure on a plane that Trump would be in office, and he wasn't. So once I realized that someone will look into a camera and say, I'm 100%, 100%, he'll be back. It's like, he's like a character. A 72-hour, whatever, cyber symposium, how long is it? Like, to me, it's just like he's a clown. He's a clown who made a lot of money selling pillows and products, and that's awesome. But as far as just because I think there was shady business in the 2020 election, I have to believe Mike Lindell. That's the new rule. People are very naive and foolish. So it's like if you dangle something in front of their face, they'll run after it forever. And to me, that's what Lindell was. I don't think that everything was completely fair, but I also don't think that he knows what he's talking about. So, that's my opinion. And, everybody's allowed to say, I believe him, I don't. That's your American opinion. But as far as, is he like super educated on, data and software engineering? I mean, maybe, but I don't think so. So if he does, I mean, we'll see what the courts decide if there's a secondary court to this ruling. But if he says, prove me wrong, it's not shocking to me that somebody proves him wrong, because just because you think there's funny business in the 2020 election, it doesn't mean that you could just say anything. Like if I like Trump, it doesn't mean that I could say there's secret ballots behind that black square. Behind that is like a Q code that I got from 8chan. Like that's just not how things work. And people don't realize that because for some reason in politics, people that don't want to do like self-building, they just want to believe somebody's going to like wipe their ass or something. So they look up to people and they're like, well, they're going to provide the Kraken. And I've had moments where I'm like, I hope they do. I hope Sidney Powell did. I was praying that she'd come deliver something huge, or Mike Lindell had some secret thing. I'm not opposed to having hope, but time tells all, and it's like I look at the evidence, and if someone comes up short or someone's acting a little goofy, it's not my responsibility to say I have to believe everything they ever say ever. It's just not the truth. Justin said, I just lost a lot of respect for you and your perception. That's fine, because no matter what you perceive about my perception, if I'm telling the truth, it's going to stand the test of time, and people are going to run in circles like a chicken with their head cut off. So you could look at some of my tweets from 2019 and 2020 about mandatory vaccines and everything that was going to happen. You can't find a single person that's upset with what I'm saying that knew better. So you get what I'm saying? The people that are upset, they don't have foresight or insight. They don't want to tell the truth. They just want to believe if that person's bad, then that person must be telling me the truth. And the truth is, if you're going to put up a $5 million award for someone to prove you wrong, you better know what you're talking about. And you might think, and we'll see what the courts decide, you might think Mike Lindell must know what he's talking about when it comes to packet data and all sorts of stuff that he has at the Cyber Symposium. You have every right to believe that. Me? I think this guy's clueless. I don't think he really knows that much. He just really likes Trump. And that was further proven to me when DeSantis won Florida, like they always say they want to win states. Did Mike Lindell celebrate? No, he said, I don't think that, essentially DeSantis won Florida, and he essentially accused him of cheating in Miami. So, it's like Lindell will say anything to support Trump. He loves DeSantis just like everyone until the second that Trump and DeSantis are going to run against each other. Now Lindell's looking into Florida because Florida's cheating. Did he find anything? Did Lindell find anything in Miami? He said he thinks DeSantis might have cheated or someone cheated in Florida. Where's the evidence of that? Does he have evidence? No, he just likes Trump, so he'll say whatever he has to say to appease his team. It's all good, but we'll see what happens. I'm not a judge. I haven't looked into it, but people think just because they like somebody that you can just say whatever I want. Like if Hillary Clinton's bad and Trump deserved to win 2020, it doesn't mean that I can just say that I have a secret chip from China and I'll pay. Like you could say whatever you want, but it doesn't make it true. This is the issue with both sides of politics and why I'm genuinely like uninterested. It's like there's a lot of people that just don't want to, like they think that because the other side's doing this, then they get to just do whatever. I'm sorry, that's not really how life works. It's what you do. So, for example, going back to the first story, it doesn't matter who's Trump, DeSantis, whatever. The truth is the truth. So if CNN says that he's Death Santis because so many people are dying in Florida, it doesn't mean it's true. They just want to beat him. They want to make DeSantis look bad because they want Florida to lock down harder. So that's what the media does. It's very dishonest, right? And Trump never did that because why would he? But now that he's running against DeSantis, now Trump is doing that too. Why? Is it true? Is Trump telling the truth? No. Is he being honest? No. Is he being genuine? No. He just wants to beat DeSantis. What I'm saying, I would have said a year ago. What Trump's saying now, he wouldn't have said a year ago. Every Trump operative that's freaking out and screeching about how bad DeSantis did during COVID, they weren't saying that 8 months ago. Why? Because they're liars. They're opportunists. They're phonies. They're frauds. They're politicians. I'm not. Exactly what I think about what I said a year ago is the same. You can learn and you can evolve, but evolving to be like, I don't trust the guy is a lot different from saying he's the #1 governor during COVID to he's the worst in the country. Like these are totally different ideas that they don't believe. If they believed that and showed proof, I thought DeSantis was the best on COVID, but now I realize he wasn't. That makes sense, but they're not doing that. They're rehashing old CNN talking points in order to try to make him look bad. They're hitting him from the left in every way. It's just disingenuous. But if people want to believe that, they can. I don't care. It's like, you can't really determine who wants to believe what. You can believe whatever you want. Third story, I have a few other things, but I'm going to read some comments. Larry Elder decided to run for president. I want to ask you guys, because I don't really know how this is going to affect the election. What do you think about Larry Elder throwing his hat in the race? Who do you think it helps? And do you think he's going to bring something to the equation? My favorite thing that Larry Elder does is I think he does a good job talking about, the manipulation of the black mindset in America. I'm not saying that's the only thing he does, but when he ran for governor, I really enjoyed his interviews and debates with left-wing media because Larry is very, expert at talking about how the media deceives black people, and he has a conservative perception on it. I'm not saying that's all he does. To me, that's like his most valuable asset that I personally enjoy. As far as economics, policy, I don't know that he's that much different than DeSantis or anything. I don't think he's that much different than Trump. But it's nice to have someone throw their hat in the ring. Also, I'm not saying he's doing it for this reason, but it depends what you want in life, where maybe you want to be vice president, so you run, get your hat in the race, get your name out there. Maybe you want your message to be heard. Maybe you want to make money, and that you have, if you have a bunch of books and documentaries that you can make money off of, you run for president, people throw millions of dollars at you, you get to parade around the country, go on Fox News a bunch, push your brand and make a fortune, not just off the campaign, but off the things that you own outside of the campaign. So if you're interested in money and attention, it's very smart to run for office. If that was my two goals, I was like, I need more attention and more money, I'd probably run for office. It would be really smart. I'd make millions of dollars. My face would be everywhere. I could sell all the stuff outside of my campaign. I just, it's tough to get a lot of attention, even for Larry Elder. They bring up all personal stuff. Old women come out of the woodworks, this ex-wife, it's like things that no one seemed to care about Larry Elder's entire life until he runs. Now it's all out there. It sucks. I mean, it sucks to challenge the political system. So, I have empathy and sympathy for anyone who runs. DeSantis, Trump, Elder. It's crazy. Let me see. Someone says, as soon as Anomaly starts getting more left-wing followers and viewers, he will be promoting drag for children. That's not true at all. I mean, the funniest part about my disagreements with Trump, I'm more conservative than Trump on every aspect. He's siding with Disney. He hangs out with Caitlyn Jenner at the White House. He waves rainbow flags. When have you seen me waving a rainbow flag? I mean, everybody has the right to evolve. Trump's more left-wing than me on the vaccine. He's more left-wing on me than the lockdowns. He was pushing communist propaganda saying America should have closed down. He's never admitted his mistakes. He's copying left-wing talking points on Florida. I'm more right-wing than Donald Trump is on almost every issue. He's just loud and says things so people think he's like, so what stances does he have morally that he actually stands to? His rhetoric on COVID is so pathetic and embarrassing and fake. He's lucky he's so popular because every single right-wing influencer is more honest than him on vaccines and COVID and everything. Trump has the dumbest rhetoric on COVID that I've heard outside of like neocons and warhawks and stuff. Trump's like, if I was president, this is stuff he said on Maria Bartiromo. He's like, if I was president, you wouldn't even have to mandate it because everybody'd be lining up for their shots. They were getting 1 million today. They had it rocking. People don't want to get the vaccine because they don't trust Biden. Trump is delusional. Grandpa Moderna is working with Big Pharma. Grandpa Moderna is better friends with Gavin Newsom than he is Thomas Massey. Grandpa Moderna has terrible COVID rhetoric. He lies about every aspect of COVID vaccine, whatever. Why? It's not his fault, though. I'm not even mad at him. It's like, if you could poop in someone's face and they say it's chocolate cake, why should he stop? Keep crapping all over your supporters. They love it. They think it's like a brown shower of cacao beans coming from like Brazil or something. They eat it up. I saw a picture of a bunch of Florida congressmen or whatever. They're all sitting at a golden table with Donald Trump. He just lobbies them with steak dinners and, basically threatens people in black. Like, if you go against me, I won't work with you. If you work with DeSantis, I'll never hire you. So everyone's afraid to call him out, even when he's wrong. So they all just sit there at the golden table. Like, Trump's like, Florida did so bad during COVID. None of the people at the table believe that. Obviously, they all know he's lying, but they're like, yeah, Trump, this steak's delicious. Really nice gold room. Yeah, thank you. Like, Dude, everybody's so fake in politics. I see them all sitting at that golden table, completely mute. They know if they ever correct one of his like errors, they're done. Like they're all just like groveling. It's okay, but it's like this is the problem with politics. It's the same psychology that people hate about politics. Like, oh, well, they take lobbying money and they just shut their mouth until it's their turn. Isn't that everything MAGA was going against? Now, no one cares. Doesn't matter. They just assume that it's going to change or whatever. But let's see. Someone said he needs to publicly acknowledge the truth about the jab. You have to understand that Trump is never going to tell the truth about the lockdown. Trump is never going to tell the truth about the vaccine. And here's the thing. He doesn't have to. It's not Trump's fault. His base is so weak and pathetic and groveling at his shoes. He's leading in the polls. Why should he tell the truth when his base loves lies? He doesn't have to. If the base actually cared about what they believe in, they cared about capitalism and free market values and conservatism and the truth, then yeah, he'd have to, or else he wouldn't win the election. But Trump could shit in their face and they'd say it's chocolate rain. There's no reason for Trump to tell the truth about the vaccine, and there's no reason for him to tell the truth about COVID. He should just keep posting CNN articles. Why not? Dude, he could do anything. I won't hit Gavin Newsom because he's really nice to me. Get a hint, guys. You don't want to get a hint? The one thing that Trump is crushing DeSantis on right now, well, two things, but he's really good with personal relationships. Trump is good at lobbying people. He's good at whining and dining them. He's good at basically threatening them, if they go against him. And he cultivates really good personal relationships. And in many ways, he's good at it. He's very genuine with personal relationships. DeSantis is very closed off. He's not somebody that talks to a lot of people, and a lot of people don't like him as much as Trump because he's not as personable. So, that's, I think, working against DeSantis now, is that Trump is really good at that and he's not. But I don't know. Does that really matter in the long run? It will for the campaign, but does that mean he'll be a good? No, I mean, if you're unable to question the guy that you're friends with, if in politics, if he does something communist and you just have to ignore it. The funniest part is, if you had all these people, like the people, of course I didn't vote for Joe Biden. I voted for Trump. All these people, if you could take all these Congress people and all these media people that, are so on his D that you think are so much better than me, they all know I'm telling the truth. It's not like they know I'm telling the truth. They wish, in many ways, they probably had the freedom that I have. I've never been lobbied by Big Pharma. I've never been controlled by Israel, which a lot of them are. They won't say that. I've never been controlled by the GOP donors. I'm not working for Trump. I'm not working for DeSantis. So I'm able to say whatever I want, whenever I want. 9 out of 10 of your favorite politicians and influencers, they don't have that type of freedom. You look at somebody at that golden table with Trump, and if they ever came out and said, hey, I like Trump, but in that Nelk Boys interview, he's lying about my state. I mean, I'm a congressperson of Florida, and that's not true. They're done. They don't have freedom. They are now Trump minions. They can't say anything. They can't speak the truth. They can't call out the fact that, it's all just shut our mouths, make fun of the left, and we'll just, assume it's going to work out. They don't have the freedom to be authentic. So I don't envy them. I don't wish I was them. I'm not them. I could be them easily, I could be them in a second, but they can't be me because apparently they don't have the discipline or the integrity to, do what's right for the country and for the Constitution and for the truth. They don't have that, I guess, but that's okay. Let me see. Someone said TDS used to mean something. Now it means anyone not gobbling his ends. Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, this is going to... And the funniest thing about it is what I'm saying, everyone's going to figure out at a certain point, because if that's how he's going and nobody's able to correct him and he's just people are starting to realize, I know there's a few people getting mad, but on Twitter, everyone's like, what? Why is he saying that? Even some of his supporters are like, what? Why? It's just going to get worse and weirder. And eventually everyone's going to look and be like, damn, Anomaly was 3 years ahead on that topic. And there were people even ahead of it than me. I'm not the first one, but I think, one of the trailblazers that really, really liked him, that was able to disagree with him. I have tweets from April 2020 where I remember, guys, I have a memory like whatever animal has a good memory. I don't know, elephant. I know exactly when Trump was saying lockdowns were good and Sweden should have locked down, I said that was communist propaganda and America should open. I remember the influencers who said, yeah, lockdowns are good. Yeah, Sweden should have locked down, MAGA. These people are spineless, brainless, soulless. They're pushing communism because they like Trump. It's I remember who these people are. So I don't care who gets upset with me because I don't know. People are that easily tricked. It's just weird. I don't know. Let me see. Someone said woman voting is communism. I mean, statistically, almost. They definitely vote more Democrat, but someone said they're all paid. A lot of them are paid. I'll just tell you all the ways people are paid and controlled because I've been around enough to figure it out. But nobody even really offers me that much stuff because they know by how I act, I won't take it. That's why I don't get a lot of deals and offers. Even like, it's like a game of you've seen people, I'm not going to name names, but like there's certain people who used to work for CNN. They came from, and then all of a sudden they're on Fox News every day and Newsmax every day. They're not smart. They're not interesting. They're just a token. They're just here's the gay guy to say what we want to say. Here's the black guy to say what we want to say. And I'm not knocking somebody, but it's like they find people that they can mold that won't question them, that won't challenge them, that'll just give generic right-wing NPC takes. That's who they want to put in these positions. They don't want somebody that can critically think and be like, well, if Democrats are going full-blown communism, shouldn't we like not just do half of what they're doing? Because then we're going to dig the grave for ourselves. And they're like, no, like don't. So, some people are controlled by money and interest connections, I guess. Like, for example, I like certain people. I don't want to like get too personal, but let's just say I talked about somebody high profile in an Instagram reel, right? I'm not going to name the name. I don't feel like getting there, but I talked about someone very high profile because they were talking about, basically contributing to the Republicans. And I said it very respectfully, but then in the comments, their son messaged me. And I know you guys are thinking it's Trump. It's not. But in general, it's like, I know multiple of their sons. I know the family, and I'm not trying to be rude with the person, but I just don't agree that we should call off the Bud Light boycotts just because, they donate to us. Like, I don't agree with that. Most people don't want to go there because it's like, well, I know their family. I'm not a hateful person, so I'm not doing it from a hateful manner, but I'm not going to lie in order to save a personal connection. If it goes, it goes. If it stays, it's meant to be. I'm not one to like turn my back on somebody, but at the end of the day, it's okay to ideologically disagree. I'm not saying I hate you. It's just like, I don't agree. It's not Trump Jr. I know people think it is. It's not. Someone else. But anyway, I just can't do that. Where most people, they're in so deep, they can't say what they want to say. Any influencer that you see that's always at Mar-a-Lago, you have to understand, there's nothing wrong with hanging out with Trump. It's a cool thing to do. But you're not free. Like if you were to then say, hey, I disagree with him on that, Trump is a very spiteful, very like, he's quick to, like, even look at what DeSantis, Trump's making less sense than he did last 2 years ago. Because in Trump's head, it's not about the truth. It's not about what really happened with the coronavirus. It's not about big pharma. It's about, I'm Trump and you cross me and now I'm going to try to destroy your life. I don't care how much I have to lie. I'll side with CNN. I'll side with Gavin Newsom. I'll do whatever I have to do to destroy your character. I'm not interested in the truth. You tell the truth and I lie. I'll make my base believe the lie over your truth. That's the type of person that Trump is. So all the people that are surrounded by him are basically just minions at this point. They know they're done. Their career is done. I mean, they just have to pretend like they don't see it. Because if they ever see it, they're done. I think hopefully Candace comes on the show. I don't know if she wants to. I invited her on, but I saw her public YouTube channel. It's nothing she told me. It's just all public. She explained how, I don't know if you guys remember the interview she did with Trump. She did one of the better interviews of Trump. Nobody asked Trump good questions. She asked him, why didn't you pardon Julian Assange? That's a good question. I don't care who you are. It's a really smart question. I love that question. Trump answered. With Candace, she also pushed back a little bit against the vaccine, and that's when Trump blurted out that it was one of the greatest achievements of mankind, which is obviously insane and not true. But, then Candace was in a pickle. She tried to like basically throw Trump a lifeline, and Trump got pissed at her. She said that on her thing, that like Trump got mad at her because she was trying to like basically not cave her own interest, but keep the relationship with Trump. At a certain point, it's just not possible. You just have to not talk about it. Like if Trump says the vaccine saved 100 million lives and it's the greatest human achievement, you can't call that out. You're not allowed to say he's lying. You just have to pretend like he never said it. So that's why a lot of people are pretending like it's not happening, because they can't admit it's happening. So you get what I'm saying? It's like, well, you know, everybody that lives in Florida, every conservative, they know that DeSantis opened up earlier than Gavin Newsom. They know that it wasn't filled with deaths. They know that they were lying about the COVID data. Every Republican that likes Trump that lives in Florida, they know that what Trump just said on the Nelk Boys is not true. It's a MSNBC fake talking point that the media used to try to shut down Florida. Name a single person who's going to call it out. They're not. They can't. They're not real people anymore. They're professional politicians. You know, they got stakes on their plate. They don't want to lose their entire social circle and their money. And probably a lot of them are in with the donors now. You know, think about when you send money to Ukraine, right? There's reports coming out now that Zelensky might have taken certain money. I'm not saying they're true or not. I mean, obviously, probably my whole audience thinks they are, just off the bias, but I can't prove that. But what I can say is this. If you send $100 billion to Ukraine, $1 billion is 1,000 millions. So if you send $100 billion to Ukraine, do you know how easy it is to take a couple million, tens of millions, 50 million, pay your friend, pay yourself? It's easy to steal money when there's that much money. When the American government printed $6 trillion and spent trillions of dollars with corporations, a trillion is 1,000 billions. A billion is 1,000 millions. Trillions. Do you know how easy it is to take a couple billion or a couple million off a trillion? Give it to your friends, give it to this group, give it to that group. We're probably getting scammed left and right. I think everybody watching this right now thinks that that's happening. Because how is it not? We're going to rebuild BlackRock's going to rebuild Ukraine. Guys, they just got a multi-billion, almost $1 trillion contract. $1 trillion contract? Oh, we're going to rebuild. What does that mean to rebuild? Who's going to watch you? Who's going to audit you? Who knows what you're doing in Ukraine? Guys, if you're going to get $1 trillion rebuilding contract, why wouldn't you take money? Why wouldn't you pay your friends? Why wouldn't you pay yourself? So this is how politics often works, is they print trillions, they spend billions, they do all this stuff. And if if you can get a little piece of that pie, you're rich for the rest of your life. Why would you bust your ass for 5 years doing labor like normal Americans when you could just suck off, metaphorically, some politician or like money printer and just get 1% of some freaking cash cow? That's what Washington is. So a lot of these influencers, like, this is the people they're around. They're all like professional leeches. That's all they do. Suck up, suck off, suck $1 out of a spending bill. So, I don't like DC. I don't hang around these people. I could count the real friends I have on one hand. I have people that I talk to, but for the most part, I'm not in group chats. I'm not hanging out with people. I want no part of this. I'm a cordial, friendly person when I'm at live events and I'm outgoing, but it's like, this is not my world. I'm not in it for that reason. A lot of people are. Once you get to that world, I'll give you an example without naming names. I don't go to like donor events. I've spoken at like Republican events, or if I get booked to speak somewhere, I would speak at a libertarian conference. I mean, as long as the people are cool and they like me and they'll let me say what I want, I'll speak. I wouldn't say anywhere, but I'll pick and choose my spots. With that being said, there's certain people, like, you've seen how hard I've worked from 2016 until now. Some people are smarter when it comes to money. Like, I don't care about just that, but like, Anomaly works his ass off to make this much money, right? Anomaly busts his ass. He owns 100% of his stuff. He grinds. He gets video ads. He sells hats. He does all this stuff to get this much. Certain people work 1/1000th as less hard than me, and they could get more money because they go to donor meetings. You get what I'm saying? If I have to bust my ass for hundreds of thousands of dollars a year, and someone could show up in a tie and suck some guy off for $400,000 in a donation, most people want to do that. And when I say suck off, I'm sorry. Hopefully, there's an adult audience watching. I'm not even talking about physically. I'm talking about metaphorically. You know what I'm saying? It's like, that's this industry. Like, I'm the dumb one, really. If I cared about money, I'm the dumb one. I could just stop working, stop doing 7 videos a week, stop making my own media site, stop busting my ass for Patreon, and go to a donor meeting and get the money that I make in 1 year in 1 day. I'm stupid if that's my goal. But the thing is, all that comes at a cost. What are you willing to do for that money, right? If you get $200,000 for your nonprofit media company, organization, or whatever to do this, and that donor happens to be Jewish and loves Israel more than he loves America, are you allowed to criticize foreign aid to Israel? Are you allowed to criticize the DeSantis law that he passed that, in my opinion, is unconstitutional, or the Trump anti-protest law? Probably not. Just the same way they passed those laws. You think Trump and DeSantis came up with that? Of course not. It was handed to them, and they probably got enough money from somebody that they're like, whatever, I don't care. It's a hate speech law. It's unconstitutional in my opinion, but it doesn't mean I hate someone. It means I don't believe in hate speech laws. I'm an actual First Amendment guy. Most influencers don't care. I've had conversations with people. I don't want to beat a dead horse here, but I always say that, and then I just beat a dead horse anyway. You get what I'm saying? It's like it's a big game to everybody. I understand you got to give a little to take a little, but I'm not playing that game. I'm not interested in it, and I'm not going to not say something I believe just to get money. But this is the thing, and this is why I talk about Republicans so much. If 2020 comes along and Democrats lock the country down and Republicans lock the country down, and both parties come together to print $6 trillion and give $18 billion to Operation Warp Speed, the Republican Party is not a capitalist party. I know Turning Point told you they're capitalist. I know these people who sit at the donor meetings told you that they're so capitalist. They're not. That was all socialist. 2020 was like more socialist than Obama, and Trump and Tim Scott and all these people were proud of it. Why am I the only one saying it? Because I'm the only one who actually believes what I say. I actually think, in theory, socialism could be good. In theory, it's nice to spread the money around. But in reality, it ends up taking away competition, and then you get swallowed alive by your government. So if you could choose, it's better to have competition and capitalism if you can. I really believe that. I wish we could all just share. I just don't see it from a philosophical perspective in this day and age. Maybe at one point it could have worked. I don't see it. But these people don't care about that. You get what I'm saying? Your whole shtick is that socialism sucks, and then Republicans do socialism, but you don't want to talk about it. Your whole shtick is that the First Amendment's so important, and then right-wingers infringe on it for Israeli lobbyists, but nobody wants to talk about it because it might seem anti-Semitic to stand up for the First Amendment. You know, everybody cares about the Second Amendment, but when Trump says we want to go to court second and take guns first, that no one wants to talk about it. But if DeSantis or someone else said it, it would be like a career-ending move. But for Trump, it's nothing. Everybody knows the truth about Big Pharma, but Donald Trump is selling their products, but nobody wants to talk about it. The whole movement's fake. There's a reason I talk about this stuff. Everybody's fake. They don't care about the First Amendment, the Second Amendment, capitalism. None of that matters to them. They just suck up money. And the second that they lose their Mar-a-Lago stake, they have no social circle, no life, and they didn't build their audience based on the truth. They built it off sucking off other people's clout. So it would be such a wild career move at this point that they would lose everything. When I came out and said what I said, there was, of course, some resistance, but there was never that much resistance because I never built that type of audience. When I got 20 million, 30 million views defending Trump, I told the truth. There's nothing anybody could say about me and my political career that I haven't already said. Well, Anomaly used to be this person when he was 23. I know I got a video that's 20 million views that I said that. I've said that publicly in order to show people my journey to why I thought Trump wasn't that bad. It's so when you come at it that way and then you go against 2020 was not the first time I went against Trump or the Republican Party. I didn't agree with the bump stop ban. I didn't agree with him signing the spending package of 2019, and I didn't agree with the anti-Semitism speech laws. It's not like I just woke up in 2020 and thought, I just call it like I see it. I've always done that, but these people really can't do that. So I'm going to keep challenging people. You know, that's it. It's that simple. Someone said Trump's bad now. he's losing his way because nobody wants to say anything. But I get why. I'm thoughtful. I get why they don't want to say anything. If you're in Trump's circle and you tell the truth about something he lies about, he will try to destroy your life. You're better off just lying. All these little congressmen sitting at his golden table, they're done. They have no soul anymore. They can't speak the truth. Shut your mouth. Look at Thomas Massey. He told the truth, and Trump tried to kick him out of the party. Gavin Newsom lies to Trump, but pats him on the back, and Trump likes Gavin Newsom. That's who Trump is. He's very easy to flatter. You just have to show loyalty to him. But here's the thing. True loyalty is you got something on your cheek. True loyalty is not, Trump, you look amazing, and behind closed doors you say he looks like shit. A true friend tells you the truth. So that's why Trump's surrounded by a bunch of snakes, and why he always gets fooled is because he doesn't have that type of, he doesn't want somebody to tell him the truth. He just wants somebody to flatter him. So he's surrounded by Scaramucci's and Mike Pompeo's and Mike Pence's and Christopher Wray's and Bill Barr's. And, it's not shocking that he's getting turned on so much because he doesn't have a filter. It's like if you say you got something on your face, Trump's like, kick him out of the party. And then if Gavin Newsom comes along and says, Trump, you look amazing, even though he's got marshmallows on his face, Trump's like, well, I guess I can't make fun of Gavin Newsom then because he's so nice to me. Loyalty is beautiful, but you gotta get the snakes out of the pit. And as somebody that loves the country, I don't want a bunch of snakes around Donald Trump. I pray that regardless of what happens, I hope he surrounds himself by better people. Obviously, that would be better for the country. Whether Trump wins the primary or not, it would be better for me and everyone if he surrounded himself by people who actually liked him and people that actually could tell him certain honest stuff. Someone I like? I like the Cortez family, Steve Cortez and Kingsley Cortez's daughter. I've never met him, but just seeing their stuff online, I like Steve Cortez. I hope that Trump keeps him close. That's somebody that Trump hired that I think is trustworthy and honest. Like, I hope he brings people like that around, not some of these other characters. Thank you, Nurse Becky. Someone said once Trump wins, he will be back on the Trump train. Just watch. It's not a sports game to me. I like the First Amendment more than I like Trump, the character. I like the Second Amendment more than I like Trump, the character. I like actual free market capitalism over vaccine socialism. If you want to like Trump more than your own rights, values, morals, it's a religion. So even when I supported Trump, I never was like just screaming MAGA, 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 everything he does. I liked him because he was telling the truth. You didn't have to tell me I'm going to get back on the train or not. I was on the train because he was telling the truth. When I liked Trump, he was honest. He was a good leader. He was being real. Now he's a phony. Like, now people want me to like the character of Trump, not who he really is and what he's doing. Like, yeah, he's lying all the time, but that's just who he is. Like, that was not why I liked him in 2017. I didn't say, oh, I like Trump because he lies all the time, but it's like, I was like, dude, he's not lying. Trump is not the same person he was. You didn't even have to tell me what you're trying to convince me of now because I already knew. I'm a reasonable person. Trump was the best leader. He had the best rhetoric. If you looked at Trump with every issue on Twitter, Trump was funnier than everybody, better than everybody. He was first. He was breaking things, like not breaking things like a vase. I'm talking about like breaking stories. It's like Trump was crushing it. If I were to say that person's better than Trump, no one would even listen to me because it wasn't true. Now, name a right-wing influencer. They're more honest than Trump. David Harris is more honest than Trump. DC Drano's more honest than Trump. Candace Owens is more honest than Trump. Matt Walsh is more honest than Trump. DeSantis is more honest than Trump. Elon Musk is more honest than Trump. Everyone's more honest than Trump. He just lies about the vaccine. He lies about lockdowns. He's so petty that he just cares about getting back at DeSantis. He's not interested in out-truthing him. He'll post a CNN article saying, haha, they're making fun of you, DeSantis, on CNN, before he just admits the truth. That's not who he was in 2018. He wasn't so fake. But if people like that, and that's the new movement now, is like, yeah, this is just how it is now, and you got to deal with it, then I'm just not interested. But yeah, if he starts telling the truth again, sure, I'll support him more. If he wins the nominee against Biden, I'm going to vote for Trump because I'm not voting for Biden. I think even Trump on his worst day, lying the most that he ever has, he's still better than Joe Biden. Joe Biden, I can only think of one honest thing I've ever heard Joe Biden say. Joe Biden is just a total, like, Joe Biden's so fake that everybody looks real. So I'll vote for Trump over Biden, but I don't think my job is to just act like a lie is a truth because he said it. I can't do it. I don't know how to do it. Someone said I used to really, really like him. I mean, I'll play the clip again of this thing. It's just like this rhetoric. I want to play the clip again. Like, this is just super cringe and left wing. I don't know why I have to, like, do I have to hop on the train and be like, oh, this is so cool? Like, here.
He had more deaths than almost every country in Florida. I hate to say it because Florida's my state.
And the truth is, Trump would have never said that if DeSantis wasn't running against him. Trump doesn't believe that. Trump's operatives don't believe that. Trump's campaign doesn't believe that. The people sitting at the golden table with Donald Trump who got lobbied by him don't believe that. None of them believe that. He doesn't believe what he's saying. So you're a fool if you believe it. You think Donald Trump would have said what he just said if DeSantis didn't run? Of course not, because it's not true and he doesn't believe it. I believe what I'm saying, so when the data was coming in, I'm saying the same thing I was now because the truth is the truth. This is what you don't understand about me. You can't woo me with trying to make me feel like, oh, pressuring me and bullying me into liking something that's not true. Just tell Trump to tell the truth again. He doesn't believe that. His operatives don't believe that. No one believes what he just said. Look at his facial expression. He doesn't believe that. There's a 0% chance he ever would have said what he just said right now unless DeSantis ran against him. So that's the type of movement this is. If someone challenges me in the primary, I'm just going to lie and start repeating CNN talking points I don't believe because I hate the person so much. I'm just going to turn into a Democrat. That's who Trump and his base is becoming. They're attacking DeSantis from the left. This statement is not true, and nobody in the Trump's campaign or sitting at a table, golden table with him, no one believes this. They agree with me.
He had more deaths than almost every country in Florida. I hate to say it because Florida's my state.
I hate to say it because I never would have said it, and I don't believe it, and no one that follows me believes it, but I'm just going to say it because I just want to make them look bad. But the way I make them look bad is by lying and taking a left-wing talking point to make them look bad. Like, that's this. Do you think this is the same movement that this was in 2018? This is not what we were doing in 2017. This is not what we were doing in 2018. This is not what we were doing in 2019. And even most of 2020, this was not what we were doing. This is a new brand of just being fake. Yes, he's better than Biden. So is a shoe. Let me find my shoe. Here, hold on one second. I'm going to find my little shoe. Ready? I wear these little feet shoes. This is not an endorsement. I wish it was. I wish I got paid by this company, but it's like, well, he's better than Biden. So is my little foot shoe that it molds to my foot. This is better than Joe Biden. Here, go put this in the White House. I guarantee it won't print any money. Danny said, all you do is cry. I'm not crying. I'm just having intelligent discussion. All you do is listen to me. Someone said, just admit I'm a cultist. Are you talking to me or other people? Someone said Trump knows DeSantis is strong on COVID, so he has to attack with lies. It's a dumb strategy, but to be honest, it's really not because people will buy it. Like, he knows his base. That's why he's selling like cards of him as a golden idol and cards of him as like, holding the Liberty Bell. He knows his base very well. At this point, his biggest supporters are people that are believing that he has secret codes from Nikola Tesla, and Trump can care less that he's like, yeah, let's just play into that. Let's play into the people who think I'm a golden idol and just keep saying things on loop. It's not gonna trick me, but it's like Gavin Newsom. If he could trick enough people, I guess it works. Who am I to judge? Like, I'm not gonna vote for him, but if Democrats keep getting tricked by Gavin Newsom, then I guess it works. With Trump, I guess he doesn't have to tell the truth. I don't know. I think it might not work, but if you would have asked me 2 years ago, is this going to work? I would have told you no. I would have told you our movement is filled with truth. Our movement is filled with honesty, and everybody wants like the truth. Now I'm not so sure. I'm like, I don't know. I don't think people want the truth anymore. I don't think they want the honesty. I think they just want a show, They just want like a storyline that's not real, that makes them feel better about themselves. So, it might work. It literally might work. I don't know. I'm not that upset at it. It's like, maybe that's a good strategy for Trump, just to lie and attack DeSantis from the left and laugh about CNN panels, like say that Gavin Newsom is nice to him, so he's nice to him. Like, maybe that will work. I don't know. You would think it wouldn't, but I don't think most people are ready to like change their opinion on it. Someone said evangelicals voting Biden now. I mean, I don't think so, but I really do think that people are underestimating just like outreach. You know, at the end of the day, I think that Republicans sometimes just think people need to like what they're saying, and that's just not how the world works. Like, if I talk to a liberal, say I talk to a liberal chick, right? I know she's not going to agree with a lot of what I'm saying. So if I want her to listen or I want to convince her, it's my job to understand that she doesn't want me to talk to her like I'm talking to my friend that agrees with me. It's not being fake. It's like you're not going to talk to the barista the same way you're talking to someone. Like, they're selling coffee, they're doing this. You know, it's like there's different vibes. You're not going to act the same way at like a Latin dance party as you are at an office. It doesn't make you fake. It just means that's an office you're supposed to work. That's a dance party you're supposed to dance. So I treat certain conversations like that. I'm the same person always, but if I'm talking to a liberal chick and I'm trying to convince her, I'm not going to scream build a wall in her face. Like, I understand that she's not going to listen. I'm going to try to, you know, convince her that I'm right, and it's a more difficult task. That's how you gain votes. I don't think Republicans are interested in that. I think they just want to like yell at themselves and think that everybody like, oh, they should like me. Why? I don't even like you, and I'm on your side. Why in the world would your left-wing kid listen to you? I don't even want to listen to you. Why would a left-wing college student believe you? I don't even listen. Like, you get what I'm saying? It's like people do this on the left too. It's like, you have to respect me because I'm rainbow. I don't have to do anything. Respect is earned. It's not just like you could show up and be like, you like me because I'm forcing you to like me. Sorry, Chico, that's not how it works. You got to be likable, and then people will like you. That's just like human nature. So I think that's the big thing on the right is like, I don't know. I don't think people that like Trump at this point, not all people, I'm not trying to shove people but I don't think they're interested in gaining new votes. Like DeSantis, you could say he's a politician, you could say he's this. He's interested in gaining certain votes. He's not changing exactly who he is, but he understands like, well, you know, there's got to be different ways to get people. It's like with Trump, it's like, no, like you just need to like him. It's like, that's not how voting works, but okay. A lot of people don't like him. A lot, you know, it's like same. I mean, just take me, for example, and maybe yourself. I don't know if you agree with me. I voted for Trump in 2020. I'm who he's trying to pitch to in the primary election. He's not even convincing me, somebody that has merch with his face on it, or rather like freaking can openers. And you know what I'm saying? Like, I've bought a shirt from his store, and a pencil neck Adam Schiff shirt. I have a shirt that says pencil neck Adam Schiff, and it has Adam Schiff's head with a pencil neck. It's really funny. I don't regret buying it at all because it's funny. If he's not even convincing me, how in the world is he going to convince moderates and independents? I don't know. I guess it's going to be a battle of like, who's worse, Trump or Biden? And it's like, Biden's going to be like, come on, corn pop. Come on, corn pop. And it's over. Listen, patriots, I'm the vaccine guy. I sell the vaccine. Oh, come on, Jack. And then like voters are going to be like, you know, and then they're going to pick one of those people. It's going to be a battle of like, do they hate Trump more than they like Biden, or do they hate Biden? You know, it's going to be like another hate fest where people are going to be like, it depends how brain dead and useless that Biden is. I don't know. I mean, I guess the angle against Biden would be like, he's old, he's a clown, I'm the adult in the room, right? That's a narrative I think that can really hit a lot of independents. Like, listen, I'm an adult in the room. I like, say what you want, but I got a lot, like, we're going to make peace, not just like, I don't know. We'll see. Someone said, I'll never cast another vote, said Rick. It's sad that you got ran away from the voting thing, but someone said, is he young? No, he's old also, but I don't know. That's another funny take on Tucker Carlson. I don't know if you guys saw, but Trump was basically like, they asked him about like if he thinks Biden should run. And Trump went on like a minute tangent where he was trying to say that Biden's not too old to run because then it would make Trump too old to run. So this is not exactly how it went. I'm just going to do my interpretation of it from what I remember. But if you want to see the real thing, go look. It's like, Tucker's like, so Trump, do you think Joe Biden should run? And Trump's like, listen, it's not about age. It's not about age. I know a 95-year-old Home Depot. He runs his business really well. 95 years old, really smart. He could be president. I think that people are just saying Biden's old because they don't want me to run. It's an attack at me. That's why they're saying Biden's too old. Like, dude, this guy really thinks people are saying Biden's too old because they don't want Trump to run. It's not just because Biden is too old. So it's like, that was his whole spin on it, because it's like, I don't even think people think Biden's too old. I think that they just say that because they don't like me. It's like, his worldview is so delusional and fake. It's actually hilarious. Like, I wish I had the Maria Bartiromo thing loaded up, because she's asking him about mandates, and he just goes on this like 2-minute tangent, and he's just like, if I were president, everyone would be lining up to get the shots. Everybody loved the vaccine when I was president. They just don't trust Biden. They don't want it because of Biden. Like, Trump is so uninterested in what you're dealing with and helping you. In his world, it's like so much about him that he can't even make an accurate statement like DeSantis or somebody with a brain. He's got to spin this whole false narrative that doesn't exist to try to justify something that's not real. Like, that's Trump's interpretation of it, is like, there wouldn't even need to be mandates if I was president, because if I was president, all these Trump supporters would be in line getting the Trump shot. Like, that's what Trump really thinks, and that's not even remotely true. But that's who he is, though. But no one cares that's who he is, so they just have to pretend like that's not happening. But it absolutely is happening. And at this point, it's like, okay, yeah, he's better than Biden, I think. I'd vote for him over Biden, but whether he wins or not, like, the truth will be revealed. If that's really who Trump is and he keeps showing it and he doesn't actually care about that much, eventually you're going to figure it out, whether it's in a year or 2 years or 3 years. Like, it's going to be figured out. I'm not tripping over it. It's like when Biden ran, Biden said he was going to like defeat COVID. It's not true. How is Biden going to defeat COVID? People believed him, though. Do you know why people believe Biden? Because he's not Trump, and I'm so scared, so maybe if I vote for Biden, he'll defeat COVID, unlike Trump. Like, the media painted this whole narrative that Trump was handling it so bad and Biden would handle it so better. I mean, tens of millions of people probably thought that Biden actually would handle it better. I'm not saying it's true, it's not, but it doesn't mean that people aren't dumb. So then Biden gets in. Does anyone think Biden stopped COVID? No, that was a lie. So it's like, you could tell the lie, you could win an election on a lie, you could get support, but at the end of the day, all will be revealed. And now everybody knows that, oh, wow, COVID didn't actually go anywhere. It never was going to go anywhere. He just said that to win the election. So, if what I'm saying is true, everyone will figure it out. And it's funny because every time a clip like this comes out, it's like it gets more and more cringe. The funniest part is I could say exactly what I think right here. I'm not emboldened by any or beholden to anybody. You know how many influencers that ride his nuts will watch a video like this and think, no, I agree, that clip was really stupid, but they'll never say it. They can't say it. They're thinking this stuff behind closed doors. They're having the same conversations as me. Bro, Trump's way off about the vaccine. Trump's way off about COVID in Florida. That's not really how it happened. But then they'll be like, aye, aye, Captain, I'm here for a steak dinner. Give me money. I have no life without you, sir. Yes, sir. Like, they know what I know. You think everyone knows, they just can't say it. That's what makes it so funny. They're having these conversations probably behind closed doors. They just can't say it. Should Jesus come before Trump? Of course. Someone said this comment section's lit. DeSantis or Trump? We'll see how it plays out, but I mean, who's telling the truth more? Who's going to hire better people? Who is the base able to challenge and question when they go the wrong path and use our influence to turn it around? To me, it's an obvious answer. I know who's telling the truth more. I know who the base will challenge more, and I know who will hire better, or I think I know who will hire better, but all will be revealed. We'll see, but I don't know. let's see how the next year turns out. Now Larry Elder's in the race. What does that mean? I don't know. Larry Elder, to his credit, I do want to give him credit because I was accused of hating Larry Elder earlier last year. So people got so mad at me because Larry Elder was running for governor of California, and he was super weak at first on vaccine mandates. Ready? There's going to be a lesson here for everybody, and hopefully people who like Trump could pick this up. He gave a super corny answer on vaccine mandates, and I'm like, yo, I made a whole video being like, yo, Larry Elder, this is trash. I'm never voting for you if you don't correct this. This is garbage. It went viral. It got millions of views, hundreds of thousands of views. Instagram. He saw it. Trust me, he saw it. And guess what? Next week, Larry Elder's at some Republican event saying the right answer that every Republican wanted him to say, because we didn't want... What's the point of voting for Larry Elder over Gavin Newsom if he has the same BS vaccine mandate stance? Larry corrected his stance, and he did the right thing. And people were still like, this is the point. I'm not a professional dick rider. Excuse my language. I'm a voter. I'm a citizen. I want my freedom. So if Larry Elder's not going to give it to me, I'm going to get it anyway. And I'm going to tell him he's not giving it to me. And guess what? Larry listened. Larry corrected his stance. Larry changed his policy, or what he said was his policy. And that's the beauty of having a spine. My vote is not guaranteed. If you're going to do the same BS that Gavin Newsom's going to do to be politically correct, go to hell. Because I'm not a slave, I'm not a prisoner, and I'm not a serf. I put it in a video, and Larry corrected. Do you know what that means? It means Larry Elder actually listens and has a soul somewhere. Why can't people do that with Trump? I don't understand it. When Trump does something goofy, why doesn't every influencer say the truth, and then Trump can change his mind and tell the truth like Larry Elder did? I actually like Larry Elder now. And I said, thank you, Larry Elder. And I made sure to make more videos complimenting him, because I'm not trying to hurt somebody's character. I'm trying to get my freedom and use my leverage to get a good policy. So it worked. And Larry Elder deserves all the credit in the world for that. With Trump, all these influencers have been lobbied and captured by him, so they can't hold him accountable for anything. So the whole movement is fake and stupid now. It's a fake, stupid movement because nobody wants to do what I did to Larry Elder. And even when I did that to Larry Elder, people were like, you shouldn't have done that. Why? Why should I? I'm supposed to say, mask mandates are good now because of Larry Elder. No, they're still not good. It doesn't matter if Larry Elder says it, Gavin Newsom says it, or Punxsutawney Phil pops his head out of a gopher hole and says, wear your mask, and runs away for another year. I don't care who says it. If I believe it, I believe it. Why am I one of the only ones that actually believes what I say? I'm not even trying to be. I'm not that special. I'm just not like a pathological liar. It's insane. Like, we love this policy unless our guy does it. Now we don't. What do you believe? And then people have the nerve to call me a Democrat. Like, I believe what other Republicans pretend to believe. They actually don't even believe it, or they care about other things more than they care about that. It's like, I believe in the First Amendment. You give like a doggy bone of like $100,000. You're like, here's some donor money. And they're like, yeah. I believe in the Second Amendment. Well, here's a bump stock ban. It's like these people don't actually believe anything. They believe it as much as they need to believe it in order to get to where they need to get, but then they don't believe it enough. And here's the spoiler alert. This is politics. This is American politics for probably the last 100 years, but definitely the last 50 years. This is why everything is the way it is, because this is how it works on the left and on the right. Do you think Gavin Newsom and Democrats don't know that biologically born men are normally better at sports than women? You take the worst surfer on the men's thing, put him in the women's league, he'll be the best one. You take the worst player in the NBA, Joanna man him or have him naturally transition into it, they're going to be the best player in the WNBA. People don't know that. You think Gavin Newsom doesn't know that? You think Gavin Newsom knew that his whole life? He was never for transgender sports until a couple years ago. Now he's a passionate advocate. Do you really think he believes that? Of course not. Of course not. People underestimate how, I think some people are like, oh, they must, dude, they're taking money and they know that, if you're a Democrat and you come out, this is not right, but 7 years ago, you could say, I'm a Democrat And although I don't care what sexuality you are, I don't think transgender athletes should be playing sports, cross-dressing or whatever. That's like everybody believes that, right? Now, you can't be a leader in the Democratic Party if you don't say that. If Gavin Newsom came out and said, I'll give you abortions, I'll give you everything you want, I'll be the exact same Gavin Newsom I was yesterday, except I do believe that biologically born men probably should sit out of sports. He couldn't be Gavin Newsom. He knows what I'm saying. Everyone knows what I'm saying. Most people, not everyone. He can't say that. This is politics. He has to go along with what they're saying in order to keep his position. Most of these influencers turned politicians that are just professional D-riders, they have to say that. You get what I'm saying? They have to lie in order to keep their position. This is why politics is going nowhere. This is why we end up in a lockdown. This is why you get Operation Warp Speed. This is why Trump prints more money than Obama and nobody talks about it because you can't talk about it. This is the two-party system. Same bankers, same donors, same pharmacy lobbyists suck up both sides. They have a fake controlled opposition fight. They throw you an Alvin Bragg or Russia collusion. You run around circles like a chicken with your head cut off and nothing changes. It doesn't matter. So we've cracked the code here on this show, folks. Many people have for many years. It would be so easy if people just stopped like bashing each other all the time, like left or right, just like hitting their heads on the wall and looked at their own side and realized that their side wasn't doing that much. It's such an easy fix. That's what makes it so annoying. But if people don't want to fix it, then it's like, what can you do? You know, what am I going to cry every day? No, we're going to make jokes about it. We're going to do funny impressions. The 1%. I'm Bernie Sanders. The 1% is corrupt. The 1% is corrupt. And that's why I'm going to endorse the 1%. The 1% is corrupt. Hillary Clinton is corrupt. That's why I'm endorsing her again. Give me money, progressives, so I can endorse Hillary Clinton again. I'm 95 years old. I'm here to endorse Hillary Clinton. And then they're like, maybe this time Bernie's going to fight the establishment. You should have woke up like everyone else in 2016. It seemed like he might. There was a real chance since he was an independent. Bernie actually used to be somewhat honest on certain topics like in 2015, and now he's not. It's like, give it up. You know, how many times are we going to do the same show? The 1%. Listen, Bernie Sanders, you're ugly. I'm just saying. Oh, come on, Trump. You're a racist, sexist, xenophobe. You're a xenophobe, Donald Trump. Listen, Bernie. You look like Larry David, except gayer. I'm just saying. I have a rainbow flag in my hand. I'm not against the gays. I'm just saying you look like a gay. Oh, come on, Trump. That's a racist, sexist, homophobic. You know, it's like, I've never seen this show before. Whatever. You know what's interesting about them? I was talking to a friend about this. They have a character. Like, you know someone's a character if you can be them for Halloween. Like, you could be, like, how would you be Trump for Halloween? You put on the Trump hair. He's got his own hair. Like, was he the first one with that hair? I don't know, but he's the last one. You get the Trump hair, maybe get a little more orange or whatever. You know what I'm saying? You put your lips like Mick Jagger and you start going like this. Like, Trump is a character. You can be him and everyone knows who you are. Bernie's a character. You could be him and everyone knows. That's the interesting part with DeSantis. He's not really a character. Like, you know, how do you be DeSantis? I don't know. If I dressed like DeSantis, no one would know I was DeSantis. Like, hey, I'm DeSantis for Halloween. Like, you just look like a guy in a suit. So I don't know what that means. Like, I don't, you know, is that a good thing or a bad thing? Is it good to be a character? Does that mean you're authentic? Does that just mean you're so different that everyone knows who you are? I don't know what this information means. I just know that it is a thing, you know? You can't be DeSantis for Halloween because no one would know who you are because it's just like he just looks like a guy in a suit. Ben Shapiro, you just put a yarmulke on and you just say listen a bunch of time and like a, you know, listen. If you want to be me for Halloween, you just have to get gold in one hand, gefilte fish in another hand, and then call everybody an anti-Semite. That's what you have to do, okay? My wife's a doctor. I like vaccines, but I was wrong. But it wasn't my fault. You know, that's my Shapiro impression. It's like, it's not hate speech. It's just funny. Shout out any Jew that's watching knows the gefilte fish reference is super rare. One of my best friends growing up was Jewish, and like every time I went to one of his family events, they always had gefilte fish, and they were like, "Do you want some gefilte fish?" And I was like, "No." I was like, "What's up with that?" And, that's a rare Jewish reference. So shout out to the Jews out there that know that I'm dropping a gefilte fish reference. Come on, stop playing with me. 0% hate speech, 100% just classic Jewish references. What can you do? Gefilte fish, exactly. You guys get it. Someone said Jesus was a Jew. Why does everybody have to act like everything surrounding it is always like negative? It's like, you're like, if you do a Ben Shapiro impression, I have to tell you that Jesus, it's like, we're just having fun. It's okay. There's no hate going on. George Washington was British. No one ever says that. He was British, but then he became an American. Jesus was a Jew, and then he became a Christian. Or always was. I don't know. Someone says stick to politics anomaly. I'm hilarious, so saying that just pushes me into comedy. Give me a microphone, give me 30 minutes. I'll have the crowd laughing harder than a lot of these comedians out there. I could do a comedy show easily. So just keep telling me I can't, and then I'll end up on stage. I'll be like, "What's up, guys? What's up with the economy, huh? Biden's economy kind of sucks, right? What's up with the egg prices, bro?" But is this thing on? Come on, guy, wake up. What are we in New York City or something? Got a bunch of libtards out here, huh? They're like, boo. They're like, tell us about how good masks are. You go to New York City, you got to write a new script. You're like, so, I mean, did you see those right-wingers without masks on? I mean, what's up with showing your face like that? Like, what are you, like a fascist? It's like oh, this is classic liberal comedy, I mean, why would you show your face and breathe air and go to the gym? What are you, like Hitler or something? What, Mussolini told you to do that? I mean, my body's shriveling up because I haven't had oxygen in 3 years, and my face is starting to turn purple. But at least I don't know what gender am. Am I right, folks? I mean, come on now. I would crush in New York City. They'd be like, yeah, that's right up my alley. Someone said they're still wearing masks in Los Angeles like mental patients. I went to Anaheim for a convention, and they're still wearing masks there too. In liberal cities, it's never over. They're living in hell. It's like, wake up. They don't want to. What are you going to do? Just leave them. I don't know. It's like, it's a thing that they do because they think it's they're so stupid that they think it's like a political thing. It's like, the CDC says you could take your masks off now, and they're like, but I don't want to look like a Republican. I've already lied to myself so much that now I have to dress like this in order to show I'm a good liberal. It's like, what? No one said not wearing a mask was Republican. You guys said that. It's like, I'm going to act like I always have and go to the gym, and they're like, oh, the gym? Oh, the gym, huh? And you're like, I'm going to wear this for the next 15 years to prove I'm not a Republican. I can't see. My face is starting to get discolored. It looks like I'm starting to get a tan, like I'm wearing a bikini top, except it's just, like it's tanning around certain sides because they've never showed their nose. Their nose is like white like a ghost. And it's like, why are you doing this? Rochelle Walensky said you could take it off. Oh, yeah, well, maybe Rochelle Walensky's working with the fascists because New York Times said it's way too early for that. We're going to leave it on until 2055. Okay. You're going to leave them on until 2055? How are you going to be conservatives in the future? We're going to be conservatives by all being gay and not having children. You're like, how is that going to be conservatives? If everybody's gay and nobody has kids, how are you guys going to be conservatives in 40 years? They're like, we haven't thought about it yet, but it makes sense. It makes sense now. It's like, it's not going to make sense in 40 years. If you're all not having kids and being gay and they're all having kids, as long as you don't hijack their kids and they actually raise their kids, I'm thinking you're going to lose that at a certain point. But I don't know. Maybe there's a different way to get it. I'm not doing the math. Maybe you get enough like illegal immigrants or something and give them, Gavin Newsom cards or something. I don't know. Give them health care. I don't know. We'll see. Someone said, I refuse to talk to anyone wearing a disgusting face diaper. I talk to him. I just feel bad. I don't know. Like I like one guy that I go, like he still wears it for some reason. Like I feel bad. I just feel bad. I'm like, what are you doing to yourself? Like I almost want to just be like, when are you going to stop? Is that rude though? I don't know. Like, when are you going to take that thing off? Like if you haven't what is it? April 21st, 2023. If you haven't taken your mask off now, April 21st, 2023, we're 3 years out of the pandemic and you're still wearing it, it's worth a question. Like, when does it come off? I feel bad. It's like, dude, this can't be fun. It's not really my business though. Appreciate you guys for coming. God bless you. God bless your family. God bless America. God bless the world. Thank you for being here. A few announcements real quick. The first one is we have 2 new products in the store. They're pre-ordered. They should be shipping soon. There's the God is Great sweatshirts that everybody has been asking me about. I'm not just saying this. I mean this. It's the best sweatshirt I have. It's the most comfortable sweatshirt I've had. I got messages, text messages, emails, people saying, I love this sweatshirt. It's the most comfortable one I have. No joke, you get it. You're like, this sweatshirt's fire. Made in America, good quality. It's like not cheap to buy, not cheap to sell, but good stuff. So check that out. God is Great. Someone said, I'm just trying to read some comments. But anyway, that, and then I have new t-shirts, Big Farmer, not Big Pharma. So if you want to make a statement that you like farming and you're not a big fan of Big Pharma, it's the shirt for you. It's aggressive enough to like make a statement, but it's pretty subtle. It's pretty fun. It's like, how mad could you really get at farmers? Maybe like someone's like, I work for Pfizer. How dare you? I don't know. I don't know how that could backfire, but for the most part, I think it's pretty fun. I don't know. When I get it in, I'll wear it around and see what people say. Hopefully no one gets too mad. They're like, I work for pharmaceuticals. I eat pills all day. I'm mad at you. It's like, I like farming. But those are the 2 new shirts. Check it out, dreamrare.com. And I'm working on an article. It'll probably be out in the next couple of days, but I'm working on an article to show all of the cloud seeding and weather modification going on in the world. Provable, sourced, China, America. They've been modifying weather for a long time now, and for some reason the media has always tried to make it seem like a conspiracy theory. But recently ABC dropped a report on it. I covered it yesterday. I'm going to do a whole video about it. I'm sorry, a whole article about it, because in the video I can only do so much. In the article, I'm going to write the best article. If you ever want to show someone that doesn't believe you for whatever reason, like that's fake, I'm going to write the best article of proof that they are manipulating the weather, and also just have like a list of 5 different ones. Mainstream stuff. You can show it to anybody. It's going to be a good time. Thank you guys. God bless. Have a good day. Thanks for hanging out. I appreciate it. And enjoy your weekend. Should be a good one. Unless it's not a good one where you're from, then I don't know. Maybe it's raining or snowing. Everybody's from somewhere. Maybe you're in Australia. It's nighttime. Go to bed. Maybe it's the morning. I don't know. But I appreciate everyone everywhere. Have a good one. I'll be back tomorrow maybe. Hey, what's going on, my friends? Just a few ways to stay in touch and support if you'd like to. The first way is dreamrare.com. We have blue beanies, black beanies, pink hats, other colored hats, freedom versus tyranny shirts, stay blessed long sleeve, God is Great long sleeve, and lots of more cool items coming soon. Dreamrare.com. Check out the shop to support. Everything's made in the United States. Handpicked by me. Patreon.com/raretalk for $5 a month. You can help support me. Support the show. If you haven't noticed, unlike other channels, I don't work with very many sponsors, sometimes none at all. And part of the way I'm able to do that is with the dreamrare.com shop and patreon.com/raretalk. So thank you guys for keeping this show free, unimpeded, uninterrupted. I'm forever grateful. My free email list is stayintouchwithme.com. So check the links below in the description, or just type in on any browser, stayintouchwithme.com, all one word. You'll find my email list, put it in there, and it's the least annoying email list you'll ever be on. I barely use it because I don't like getting emailed every day or every week. It's annoying. So I don't do it. Stayintouchwithme.com. It helps me take back some power away from big tech. Telegram, t.me/dreamrarechat or @dreamrarechat. Due to censorship, I post all my live stream and videos there. Sometimes I have some bonus content, and I try to give people a heads up when Facebook or YouTube won't. DreamRareChat at Telegram. My Instagram is at DreamRare. Thanks for everybody following there for shorter content. And DreamRareLinks.com, that's DreamRareLinks.com, has all my stuff. My podcast on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, my music on Spotify and Apple, my Rumble page, my BitChute and Gab page. All my links are found at DreamRareLinks.com. Thanks for watching, folks. God bless you. You already know I'll be back with more content soon. Appreciate you. Hey, what's going on, my friends?